Hello, and what are the top trends of 2023? What were they? Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mind Renovation Nation, the show brought to you by Red Maples, your trusted partner for institutional style property management of small multifamily rentals. I am your host, Nathan Bush, and each show we share with you real life experiences from our journey. We invite you, whether you're a trailblazer, an industry expert, a real estate investor, for you to jump on the show, be a part of the community, and share in the comments, be part of the conversation. Each week, we do this on Friday afternoon at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Our mission is to guide you through and navigate the market, fine-tuning our management processes and equipping you with strategies to boost your returns and slash unnecessary expenses. Together, we're going to decode and demystify this whole process of small multifamily real estate investing. And if you like information like this, go to the link inside of my descriptions here, and it will get you connected in a variety of different ways with me and things that you can do. For instance, one of the things you can go to is www.nathanbushmba.com/subscribe and be notified when shows like this are coming on. So today we're talking about trends in 2023, and I do have a guest with me, Jason Hudson. He is one of our contractors, and he's going to be talking contracting trends later on in the show. But for right now, I want to make sure I say thank you to our sponsor, Red Maples. red-maples.com/assessment. That is where you can go to get a real estate portfolio assessment if you're trying to determine what is going on with my real estate. We'd be happy to do one of those assessments and conduct those assessments for you. I see Travis online. Travis Durbin, thank you very much for participating with us today, Travis. I think you're really going to like today's show. Travis, it is jam-packed with all of the trends that went on in 2023 in real estate investing. People have been asking me to do a show about this, and so I'd like to take some time and talk through these trends with you. The first trends here is this smart technology. As you can see the guy laying in his chair saying, "Alexa, what's my motivation to leave this chair?" It's because we have so much smart technology that's available for us right now. People don't even have to get out of their reclining chairs. Now, I do know that you guys are going to want to know, what can I specifically do in my apartments, though, in order to make them more attractive based upon this hot trend that's going on in 2023 as you roll into 2024 and you start to plan out your year. So we did a little research for you to help you out with this process. What does this trend actually look like, and what does it cost investors in order to be able to do something like smart home technology? Well, you might consider a video intercom system. This is something that's trendy right now. The equipment cost is between $200 and $500. The labor cost on this to install, it's between $200 and $500, depending on how much needs to be done. You've also got this concept of keypad and access controls. Again, equipment on this is $100 to $300, and the labor to install is between $200 and $500. You might consider smart lights and outlets. This isn't that expensive to do. This is putting some outlets into your home that will maybe sync with their Alexa or an app on their phone and changing out some light bulbs inside the home. The equipment to do so, maybe $500 to $1,000, and labor cost to install $100 to $300, depending on how much needs to be done inside of your units, depending on how big they are, depending on how many need to be changed out. How about this self-guided tour platform? Well, if you work with somebody like Red Maples, we already have this process in place. We do a self-guided tour. It's really hip for millennials. They can go at any time. They can view the property on their own terms. They're not beholden to an agent's schedule. They can actually go tour the property and then give feedback and have the conversation just as though the agent was right there with them. We live in a technology-driven world today. We live in Zoom calls. Heck, my wife was telling me, because she literally works from home every single day, that you don't even need to go into an office anymore today. I do happen to be in the office working today, but you don't even have to go into the office anymore. You can literally do all of the work that you need to do primarily remotely now with Zoom calls and video conferences. Well, the same is true with leasing property to tenants. You can do the same process and make it an enjoyable, pleasant experience to tour the property on their own terms. You just have to make sure that you market some of this stuff inside of your unit when when you do it. And that's where a skilled company like Red Maples comes involved. And we're able to help demo this stuff in a self-guided tour whenever you use this smart technology within your property. All right, so self-guided tours are important. How about smart thermostats and blinds? Have you ever left the home and you thought to yourself, did I turn the temperature up or down? Well, how's it set? Well, setting up smart thermostats and blinds might be a good opportunity for you to improve your property with some smart technology. Equipment cost there is between $200 to $500, and the labor cost installs between $100 and $300. Look, guys, this is not that expensive to do. The first trend that's going on in small multifamily real estate is not that expensive. If you just pick one or two of these items, you might be able to create or cultivate an experience that's on trend, that brings in more renters, even whenever you start to see things like the downturn in the rental markets like we've seen. What separates your units? What makes them unique compared to going to the next guy's property? People are choosing where they want to live right now. And so this is something that is, it's hip, it's trendy, and it's something that you can take advantage of. How about this last trend right here? Just in general, smart outlets with USB phone chargers. How simple is that? At bare minimum, how about putting in some phone USB charging on the outlets? $25 to $150, depending on how many of these outlets you're installing. $25 to $150 to install. It's not that costly, something you can do to upgrade, and something you can include in your marketing descriptions explaining how hip and trendy and up-to-date you are with creating smart technology-based units. All right, Travis says, boo for an office, work from home is the best. Travis, I totally agree with you. I do enjoy working from home, but there is something to be said about the synergy and centralization of people being able to work together in an office. And, with the trends that are going on in 2023, heading into 2024, it's interesting to me how many people are up for that debate, right? Work from the office or work from the home. How many bosses are like, no, everybody's coming back into the office? I think it has to do with this next trend that's going on in 2023, Travis. The trend is centralization and automation of management. What do I mean by that? That means that management companies are able to work nationwide now. As a management company grows, one of the things that they try to consider is how are we going to properly manage and oversee all of the systems and processes for thousands of homes. A management company isn't focused anymore on just a couple hundred homes in a local market. That's not the way that property management is going. Property management is going on mass scale. And I know this because, well, I'm partners in a property management company, and it is difficult to make profit, to make great money in the property management industry. You have to have scale, you have to have size, you have to have volume. And so the big trend in property management this year is centralization and automation of management services. The main major tasks that your team is needing to do, they're being done from centralized locations. The accounting teams are being centralized. The call center teams are being centralized. The leasing teams are being centralized because of this remote showing concept, because of this smart technology, because companies are able to use this stuff. And automation is a big part of that. Management companies are looking to run leaner and meaner to keep your costs in line, because we also know one of the other things that has been happening in 2023, it's no secret to anybody, construction costs have started to increase. So we'll talk with Jason in just a little bit about construction and what's going on in the construction industry and market. But this is why management companies are looking to automate and to centralize these services so that they're not having to hire extremely expensive people in New York or California in order to be able to manage these properties. They can run leaner with staff members that are in those areas and maybe put together more centralized staff, like places like the Midwest, where cost of living is a little bit cheaper, because they can do it now. That's why they're doing it. All right, so we talked about centralization as trend number 4. What do you guys think trend number 3 is? If trend number 4 is centralization and automation, it's really interesting to me what trend number 3 was. Yeah, you guessed it. It's the opposite of trend number 4. Trend number 3, one of the heavier trends, is outsourced labor. Companies now are not doing all of their work in the United States. They're actually beginning to use global labor in order to offset some of the cost and keep costs in line so that companies can continue to manage its scale. That's one of the challenges that we have in this ever changing inflationary market that's going on right now, and this high interest rate market right now. One of the things that you might consider if you are trying to grow your own management arm out in your practice is some outsourced labor. And the reason is because outsourced labor can do all of the same things that you can do here locally. You just have to have systems, processes, procedures that are well defined. That's one of the great benefits of working with a company like Red Maples, actually, is that we do have well-defined system processes and procedures. And we use a combination between the centralization, and we use a combination between automation and outsourced labor in order to be able to be as productive as what we've been able to be for our owners and our services that we continue to grow and scale. This is what helps keep their costs in line. And if you're thinking about outsourcing, we have a new sponsor on the show. That's BBC Global Services. BBC Global Services is outsourcing that helps people like you focus on your superpowers. Simple and on your terms with no term limits. You can get a free consultation by going to bbcglobalservices.com. Just go ahead and check those guys out. I appreciate them sponsoring the show. But if you do need a virtual assistant, that's who we utilize at Red Maples. We utilize companies that have skilled managerial oversight so that we can get additional scale out of 1, 2, 3 employees. Because as we add people to BBC Global Services platform from an outsourcing perspective, I don't just get the outsourcer that works in our organization with our oversight. They also have a managerial oversight in the Philippines that oversees our team member. They also provide daily reports on the work that they do. It adds a whole structure and staff for very affordable costs, way less, almost 50% reduction in what we would pay to have somebody doing similar work here in the United States from a centralized perspective. That's why it's so important to have good documented policies and procedures that can be followed so you can train and teach these things. So we have centralized teams working, and we have outsourced teams that work to help support your portfolio as you bring it into Red Maples. All right. One of the next trends that we have, you guys know, what do you think the next trend is? What do you think trend number 2 was in the top 5 trends of 2023? Let me pull it up here for you. Let's see if you guessed it. Social worthy physical amenities and experiences. Interesting, huh? We participate in a program here locally ran by Lee Fjord, and it's called Tours and Pours. Tours and Pours is a great organization because we get to tour local apartment communities in the area and see some of the trends that are going on. I took some of these photos from a couple of the apartments that we had toured. Amazing, isn't it? Some have coffee bars in place. Some have full-fledged bars with full liquor. Some apartment communities, they have this sneaker wall. Why do you think they put together this Nike sneaker wall? I'll tell you why. So I show it to you online. That's why. You're looking for social worthy physical amenities and experiences that people can share online. This is a major trend that's going on in 2023, and that will probably continue into 2024. Technology, centralized services, automation, outsourcing, and social worthy physical experiences. So we're talking the top 5 trends in 2023. I've got Jason Hudson coming up with me in just 1 second. He's actually on the line ready to hop onto the show with me. However, what do you think the number 1 trend in small multifamily real estate investing was for 2023? I'm going to bring Jason on. We're going to talk maintenance. We're going to talk construction. We're going to talk some of the trends there. But what do you think the number 1 trend was for 2023? Why don't you put that in the comments? And I'll tell you, it actually was the most desired amenity. So that'll give you a hint of what it is. But go ahead and throw it in the comments. What do you think the number 1 trend was from 2023? Whether you're watching this on replay or you're watching it live, what do you think the number 1 trend was in 2023? All right. With that said, I would like to bring to the stage and show Jason Hudson. Jason is an experienced maintenance construction arm of Red Maples. He does all of the turnovers and renovations within reason within our organization. And we couldn't be prouder and happier of the work that you do, Jason, for the Red Maples Company. Thanks for joining me today on the show.
Thank you, Nathan. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we're talking trends today, 2023, and you have been in the field ripping up carpet, tearing down walls, putting in pipes and toilets. What are you seeing as some maintenance trends that are going on within, the 2023?
Well, one of the things you hinted on earlier, Nathan, that is really it's a downside to the trend, but it at the same time can become an upside is the labor force. We're having a real issue with labor force. And so what you're going to see, especially if you're an investor with small multifamily, is you're going to see, a time period where you're going to have to wait on labor. And that's something we're trying to resolve with, me partnering with Red Maples, is that labor time delay. But I was listening to Mike Rowe and Dave Ramsey. They were doing an interview together, and they were talking about the blue collar work, and they were mentioning for every 10,000 that are leaving for retirement, there's only about 4,000 replacing them. And that's one of the things we're seeing this year. It's been really, really tough to find employees and to be able to find good quality workers that have come in. Most of them are very unskilled, and there's a lot of education that needs to go on. And I think the trend that you're going to see with that, and I think you're seeing it now, is the uptick in the price of construction and maintenance work. The price is going to go up because there's a much higher demand with very few people being able to do this. And so what it's doing is it's causing a bottleneck and a restraint along the way. And so, like you had mentioned with Red Maples, we're trying to partner together where I focus the majority of my time on Red Maple stuff so we can focus on getting that time delay down, where we don't have so much of a time delay waiting on construction workers, waiting on different vendors to come in and do work. And I think you're going to see that as one of the hard trends of this year.
Yeah. And one of the success principles, I can't remember which book I read it in, and if you held me to it, I'd probably go find it. But one of the success principles I remember reading about is when they zig, you zag. When everybody's shopping for holiday gifts, that's when you should be resting. When everybody's resting, that's when you should be shopping for your holiday gifts. When everybody's planning out their next year, you should already have your next year planned out and done and ready to go. Like when they zig, you zag. And one of the things that we have found that works really, really well at Red Maples, and maybe other management companies do it, I don't know if we pioneered the idea or if it's just a different concept that we came up with as a solution, is this concept of, while everybody else is outsourcing, we're insourcing labor. We're partnering with other construction companies and utilizing those construction companies to be able to get on schedule and be able to utilize our resources from a management construction company and utilize our systems and tools and processes and procedures, but working within the confines of our organization, even though it may be, a third party. And so that has been really helpful. And one of the things that we have found. What about in construction materials? What have you found as far as construction materials went in 2023?
So we noticed a little bit of a lowering in some pricing, which has been good. I wish it would go back to the original pricing before COVID and everything else, but it's not. But it's still lower. So materials easier to come by again. We're not struggling with a lot of that. There's also been a little bit of a change in some of those materials that get used in homes. I've noticed a lot of investors are looking more on the bulletproof side. So they're looking for things that hold up longer, hold up better. So for instance, one of the things that we're noticing coming in is a lot of your PVC boards and PVC angles and corners, because they hold up, they don't require a lot of paint, it's not paint peeled. And so you're seeing a lot more of that coming in. It's a little more expensive, but it's more durable. Whereas you get paint that rips off a lot of your trim boards and things along those lines. So I'm noticing a lot more PVC being used, at least from my end, which is a bigger expense, but a long-lasting durability that goes.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm an investor. I'm thinking about investing in real estate, or I haven't invested yet, but I'm hearing this conversation about higher costs, inflation. I got to put more into my properties, and that could cause you to kind of clam up and maybe not make the decision to invest. So, on the flip side of things, what are some trends that you're seeing in order for investors to save costs in real estate, and what they're doing in order to kind of offset some of these things, these decisions that have been made, whether they're macro or micro decisions that are going on in our economies and lives?
No, that's a good question. So what we're seeing that really brings a savings to the investor is there's a lot of materials and labor that are so the labor time actually becomes less. Certain materials that are available which allow us to get jobs and projects done faster. So there's been a change in some of the ingenuities in certain materials so we can get in and get out quicker. So a lot of the plug and play, just for example, you know, shark bites came out a long time ago for plumbing, but everybody was real leery of them. But the cost and the speed to be able to get those things done in and out, and they last 20 years, it's a great ingenuity and a great engineering that has come in to allow us to get in and out of a job faster, which saves you in the labor aspect more than in the material aspect. Materials might be a little higher, but your labor costs sometimes are cut in half or even better.
Yeah, and well, that's one of the things too that we do a little bit differently at Red Maples that we have been finding is a couple of things. Number one of the trends within our organization that has been beneficial for us is the speed at which we get these turnover projects done and being able to get the properties leased back out pretty quickly. And so, you know, from an investor standpoint, the faster you can get that thing turned and the faster you can get attended in it, the more money that you end up making is maybe not saving because you're getting it turned faster. And so when I see an investor that, you know, maybe didn't use Red Maples for construction service or whatever, and they try to do it on their own, it takes months and months in order for them to be able to get that project done. And they're not really saving any money at that point. They're losing all this opportunity cost of rent. And so that's a trend that we have seen is that, you know, that a lot more investors are turning projects over to us because of how fast that we do actually get them done. And the fact that we're day in and day out solving this labor problem. You can't find the labor as an investor, but as an organization, as a company, we're focused on it. We put the effort into those things in order to be able to make a good way for us to be able to get these construction projects done faster, quicker, better, and cheaper. The last thing that I would tell you is one of the things that we see at Red Maples, it's a little bit different, is when Jason does a project, it's done. The things are fixed inside the apartment correctly. And so you don't have a whole bunch of work orders. So I've seen a trend of work orders coming down in the organization because of the work that you're doing, Jason. And so for that, I have to say thank you. Like your guys' crews, I don't know whether it's, you know, you that goes in and does every single thing, but it's like magic that everything is being done and being done correctly. How do you make that happen?
Well, it definitely takes the right crews or it takes the right team. It's not just about Jason going in there and doing it, but there's an organization to it. I've got a little sheet that prints out, here's everything that the inspector is going to be looking at. And then I've got another sheet that says, and this is something we hit on, if we can get these other objects done and these other things that are not just based on inspectors and what they're looking for, but these other things that will allow that owner to have a higher rent come in, that's what we're going to try to do. So we want to try to bring everything up to the top 25% of the market. And then when we get it there and we get a good tenant in, you should not see me or my team back in that house for at least 12 to 18 months for any maintenance work order whatsoever. So when we go in there, that's the goal. Everything should be buttoned up tight. Now, there are times that doesn't happen as we would like, things that were unseen, but it's extremely rare now. So for us to go back into a unit 12 to 18 months later is very rare. Once we get in there, we get the job done, we get it done quick, and we button it up and almost make it bulletproof to an extent. And we get you the top dollar for what you're looking for as a investor in the market. And then you get to walk away and your ROI is significantly better down the road for that.
I mean, how fun is that? I'm going to keep you with us, Jason, because I got a couple of things that I want to talk about from 2023. These are trends that died or should die. So we'll start with one that should die. How about this one here? Do you see this dying? I hope it dies. Get rid of the gold, right? Have you noticed, Jason, that a lot more units are being converted over back to like brushed nickel and different stuff like that, and this gold's being ripped out?
Yes, they are. Everything's going brushed nickel or your bronze coloring, but yeah, this gold is gone.
It's got to go. How about this one? This one's got to die too. The Barbie trend. Ryan Gosling, you can keep 2023, but 2024, this has got to go away. I've seen stuff like this inside of rental units, and it's just got to go. It's got to go. How about this last one, Jason? This will be good. In 2023, Twitter died. It's X having a press conference.
Oh, that's funny. That's good stuff right there.
I don't know. Have you watched any of the news lately? I mean, Elon Musk has been having lots of conversations. I'll say it that way. He's got an opinion on everything, it seems like, recently. Speaking of opinions, though, the Blues, if you're from St. Louis, this matters. If you're not from St. Louis, you'll have to hang on to find out the number one trend in 2023. But what about the Blues firing Coach Berube?
Dude, that's rough right there. That's going to be interesting. How this one.
Though, I think it lends into well with the philosophy that we carry at Red Maples. Like, do your job. Like, if you got to win, you got to succeed, you got to hit goals. Things have to be achieved. That's why we do our quarterly planning. I did a previous show on how we do our quarterly planning and how it's so important to our organization. You guys should go back and watch that show because it's what keeps us fresh. It's what keeps us productive. It's what keeps me with fresh content for you and new ideas and different ways to bring value to the marketplace. So I just want to take time and say, thank you to you, Jason. On the opposite side, Berube is not in St. Louis anymore, but Jason Hudson's contracting is in St. Louis, and he's doing a great job for Red Maples, and I just want to say thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, Nathan, for all the encouragement and allowing me to come on and talk.
Of course. All right, you guys want to know what is the number one trend, and I will get to that in just 1 second. Before we hop into that number one trend, I'll tell you a quick story. There was an investor who had 15 units, and they were spending all of their time managing property, working 40-plus hours a week on their job. And then they tried to also manage their units. And so they were making it even more difficult to find deals and to hire, to do all the things they want to do. They hired a property manager, us, and nearly doubled the size of their portfolio in the next 12 months. Here's the problem that you run into. If you're working to earn equity, and we talked about equity, you can go listen to my No Money Down show where I talked about the only way to buy real estate is with equity. Whether it's your time or your money, you have to put equity into a deal. And so, at least if you're doing real estate investing, I don't know about these guys that have these fake programs that are out there and they teach you all these concepts that don't work and make you go broke when the economy changes. However, if you're truly investing in real estate for the long term, you've got to get equity from somewhere. And so you only have so many hours in a day. And leveraging an organization like Red Maples will help you to be able to go out and still acquire those properties and turn those over to an organization and let us do the sweat work. Let us do the hard work, the changing of the toilets, the dealing with the tenants, the collecting of the rent, the processing of the leases, the processing of the renewal. Let us do that so you can do what you do best. I just threw up on the screen for you a couple of testimonials and Facebook posts where people were saying like, hey, Red Maples is the company to go to, just so you can see that there is socially people in St. Louis who are constantly saying, hey, Red Maples is the company. And you're probably one of those people. If you watch this show on a regular basis, you're probably somebody that recommends our organization. And for that, I want to say thank you. During this holiday season, I need to make sure I take time and let you know how appreciative I am. Travis, you're on this show, and you're also one of the people in those Facebook comments and threads. And so I have to say thank you for that. All right. And I don't want you to invest with confidence tricks. I want you to invest with confidence. And so if you let Red Maples guide your real estate management so you can focus on your investment work, then you're going to be that much more productive. And so if you wouldn't mind, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go to nathanbushmba.com/subscribe and get updates so that you can be a part of the show and the community as well. And I want you to share your success with others. Make sure that you post in the comments what you think the success that you've had through 2023 was, what some trends were that you saw in 2023. But make sure you also follow us, because by following us and sharing the content and posting in the comments, you become part of what I call the Mind Renovation Nation, the Red Maples community. And by being a part of that community, you're adding value to others. Travis Durbin, you are adding values to others. Jason Hudson, you are adding value to other people. And so those are the things that matter in life. When all this is said and done, like who you help, the people you know, the people you care about, those are the most important. I know you all have been waiting for this, and you've probably trying to ask this question. Nathan, just tell us, what do you think the number one trend is in small multifamily real estate investing for 2023? Post it in the comments, guys. Post it in the comments. But I'm going to reveal it in just 1 second. Post it in the comments. What do you think the number one trend was in small multifamily real estate? I mean, this number one trend is actually a core value of Red Maples, and it helps people form their identity It helps them form their identity. What do you think it is? Well, let me share it with you. The number one trend in small multifamily real estate investing was this: community. Community. It's the most desired amenity. In fact, apartment renters report done by Kingsley said that 60% of residents indicated that living space reflects their identity. So small multifamily residents seek connection and belonging with their resident community. I think that's why we're seeing some trends in technology. That's why we're seeing some trends around the concept of these shareable social amenities that are going on in the community. People want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. And so in these small multifamilies, people want to have a sense of community. And so I got to ask you, what are you doing in your small multifamily real estate to get a sense of community? Now, with the sense of community, I have to thank our community sponsor, Web Insurance. This is another sponsor that's come on in this last week. And I want to say thank you to Web Insurance for sponsoring my show and for being a part of you guys. If you need somebody to insure your small multifamily real estate portfolio, the cool thing about Web Insurance is that they're a independent broker, and they go through a number of different resources in order to find the most affordable insurance for your small multifamily rental. In addition to that, every year, if your premium increases by greater than X, let's say 15%, they're going to reshop your insurance through multiple carriers in order to make sure that you're staying at the lowest prices as you go with them year after year. So thank you, Web Insurance, for being a sponsor of the show. And with that said, if you are a real estate investor and you would like to come on the show and have a conversation with me, we are now scheduling opportunities for you, the real estate investor, to come on and share your story. I want to hear your journey. What got you to where you're at? Do you agree, disagree with some of the things that I've been sharing? It's okay to be on the show and have a difference of opinion. I'd like to talk to you. So reach out to me and let's get you on the show in front of the audience. And lastly, before we go home for the day, I'd like to say thank you again to our sponsor, Red Maples. Remember, they're your go-to source for small multifamily institutional style property management. You can go to red-maples.com/assessment and get a rental portfolio assessment, and they'll analyze your rental portfolio. They'll determine, are all of your rents in line with where they're supposed to be? Have you maximized the amount of revenue that you're supposed to have? Should you get rid of some properties? Should you refinance your portfolio? Are your insurance costs too high? We'll look at all of those things for you, and we'll do a comprehensive assessment and provide that full report for you for free, just for going to red-maples.com/assessment. All right. With that said, guys, it is at the half hour, and I want to say thank you again for tuning in and watching another episode of Mind Renovation Nation. I am your host, Nathan Bush, and each week we bring to you information for small multifamily real estate investors along our real estate journey. So tune in each week at 12 p.m. Central Time, and we will see you on the next show. Bye, guys.